Going. So welcome to everybody who's joined the call. Delighted to see so many of you. Let me just plug my computer in. And yes, so as I said, absolutely delighted to be speaking to you this afternoon about your wonderful brand of shoes. And I also told people that you're up in Banbury, which is a very cool part of the world, which is really lovely. And I just need to remind people to put in any questions that you have.
Of course.
For Debbie down into the chat function, and there'll be an opportunity later for us to ask Debbie those questions on your behalf. So Debbie, let me come to you and say, first of all, we had a lovely chat yesterday afternoon, and you had a great story to tell about how Pavers actually started, and it was with your mother-in-law, because you married into the family. And you're a Paver by marriage, not by birth.
Absolutely. But she just had 3 sons, no daughters, 3 sons.
3 sons, and that was it's your mother-in-law who started the business. And
that's right.
Tell us the story of the business.
Well, she was just a working mum and decided she wanted to do something for herself. Her husband worked at the post office, used to teach all sorts of things at the post office internally. And she thought, well, she wanted to do something as well. She was never a stay-at-home mum in that way, although she did when the boys were very, very young. So she went to the bank to ask for a loan for a business, and we're talking, more than 50 years ago. So she was rebuffed by the bank, saying, "Oh no, of course we can't give you a loan for that, madam. You're a woman, and we don't do things like that." Thankfully, the world has changed a lot since then, and so she went to another bank and asked for the same amount of money, £200, for a loan for a sofa, and of course she got it. So they allowed her to buy a sofa, but not to start a business. Anyway, she started the business with the £200, and she started selling catalogue things. I remember a lot of ladies out there, and all of us will remember these house parties, selling things through house parties. That's how she started off. So she'd go to the catalogue companies and say, "What have you got in excess stock? What could you let me have?" And it wasn't at that moment in time shoes. It was lots of clothing, lots of kiddies things, lots of sort of twin sets for ladies and all sorts. And then she decided she'd take shoes on as well. And everybody went wild for these parties, because the only lady around York that had these parties going on but had shoes as well. And it went from a very small business to a very large business very quickly. And then she decided, well, I think I'm doing so well with this. She was employing a lot of people. I'll find a premises. And the premises she found was actually at the side of the river. And if anyone knows York, the river often floods. So the premises she took on, no one seemed to want, because the ground floor flooded, but they had steps up on the outside of the place to the first floor. So she put all her stock on the first floor and then next floor up. So the place was full. It was like walking into a catalogue, really, of all the goods she had. But she ended up with it being just shoes. And she went around all the areas, and she was formidable lady, an incredible woman. She died 4 years ago, but an absolutely incredible woman. But it just went berserk for her. Everybody understood her. She's a Scot, and she was married to a Yorkshireman. So she had a lot of guts. She was out there in a man's world, and she got what she wanted, and she did it so well. Or else Pavers wouldn't be around now if it wasn't for her. She was an amazing woman.
Well, it's a brilliant story, because she's obviously entrepreneurial and quite a
pioneer.
She started that story. She actually started in the early 70s, I think you said. Yeah, and she spotted a massive opportunity and then exploited that opportunity to perfection, because of the kind of she was. So a formidable mother-in-law, as you say, and you married one of her sons. So how did you become involved in the business?
Well, it was as soon as I met Ian, we all, wives and the boys, became involved in as much as that we would carry stock around in our cars. Very humble beginnings, really, because her garage was actually the first stockroom, if you like, the garage of her house. Behind the garage, they built a tiny little office with 2 people in it that sort of ran the business at that stage. She was out there buying, the boys were buying with her. We started, when I met Ian, at 5 shops. We've got 146, I think now, 46. So it started small, and we used to go around to all the shops and take the stock that they needed, until it obviously expanded. But when George was 2, George is a buyer for us now, and he's 26. When he was 2, Ian came home one day and we used to work with certain outlets, so we'd work and have that concessions in stores. And Ian said, oh, Sue, wherever she was, said, would we like to do shopping telly? And I said to her, well, my wife will probably do it for us. She came home with this pair of shoes and said, Deb, they've asked me to do shopping TV. Do you reckon you can give it a go? And I went, well, I suppose so. So I went down for an interview, supposed to be in the green room going, and then she just said to me, Denise, who is a firm friend now at Ideal World, a lovely lady, said, well, you don't need that, just come on. And I went straight in there in the studio and did an hour show on these shoes. And it just took off from there, really. You know, shopping telly worked for us so well. Our catalogue worked so well, our online and our stores all work together.
Yeah.
And I think, Tricia, it's all about being honest with what you do, telling people the truth. You know, the last thing I want is to tell somebody this shoe's going to fit all of you when it isn't going to. So you need to tell people the truth. We don't want to get all the stuff back, all the shoes back. And I want smiles on ladies' faces. I don't want, well, she said it would fit me, when it's not going to. So give them an honest opinion of who that shoe is for. And if you have foot issues, like I know we was discussing yesterday, the two of us, that we get to a certain age and we've all got foot issues. So yeah, it works, and it still works now. And it's been, what, 22 years, 24 years on. So I've been doing this.
That's amazing. I mean, your story is brilliant too. I love it. I love the idea that you walk into a studio having never done it before, and someone says, oh, you're perfect. Get yourself on in front of the screen, and you rise to that challenge, and you actually do it. Yeah, that's an absolutely brilliant story. It's really good to hear. So let's talk a little bit about shoes. And I suppose I'm really interested in. You obviously have buyers, but how do you choose the shoes for your range, and who's your typical customer, and how do you service and satisfy that customer, do you think?
Well, I think our customer is who we are. It's you, it's me, it's anyone of a certain age that's discerning, but doesn't want people fobbing them off and telling them a load of rubbish. They just want a truthful person telling them what these shoes are about. I think demographic wise, it's of a certain age, it can be any age, to be honest with you, it can be any age. But I think we're looking at more of a middle-aged, more mature lady who wants value for money. She wants good quality, and she wants to know that there'll be something in the range that's going to fit her. It's like, if we're going to buy a bra, we know a bra fits us. We'll feel really confident buying the same company, the same size, cup size, etc. With our shoes, we tend to get the same sort of thing. A lady will come in, she'll try them on, or she'll get them through the post or whatever, and she'll fall in love with them. So she knows that every time she buys that shoe, that company, that shoe's going to fit her perfectly well. So it's buying with confidence. And, we do have value for money. We have amazing quality and comfort. Comfort is the big byword that our brand is made of, is that all our shoes, we believe, all our shoes are comfortable. See, there'll be some narrower fits, some broader fits, some fits for people with quite big issues. And, we try and service everybody's needs, and the staff in the shops are all trained properly and are really nice with customers, and they get presents from customers and things. People love coming in to the stores. It's a really nice feeling. Once you've built confidence with someone, they'll come back to you.
Yeah, I mean, customer loyalty is obviously very important. It's important in our business, and clearly important in yours as well. Let's talk a little bit about comfort, because I think I've gone from loving shoes which are just glamorous and gorgeous, and the sort of shoes that you fall in love with and you want to wear with a great dress or something like that and go dancing in. That's a long time ago for me, and I no longer look at shoes as the glamorous item. I look at shoes as a practical item which are going to fit me and actually be comfortable. It's incredibly important. So when you say comfort, what do you think are the important things to consider when you're buying a shoe? How do you make sure that they're comfortable?
Well, I think the first thing that you think about is, obviously, if you look at your own foot and you know what size you're looking for. There's some ladies think they're, say, a 4, and actually they're probably a 3, but they've got a wider foot, so they tend to go a size up to compensate for the width, but that doesn't work. You've got to have the correct length on the shoe, but you also have to understand that if you've got a high instep, if you've got broad foot, if you've got bunions, if you've got things right or wrong with your feet, we have to take it all into consideration. So when you look at someone's foot, you've got to try and have that in mind, that the thing when you put a pair of shoes on, they have to be instantly comfortable. Forget all that thing we did when we were in our teens and we were young. We loved them, but you couldn't smile because your feet were in agony. It doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. That's why we've got problems with our feet when we get older. So the first thing is comfort. Put it on, it's comfortable. Is it adjustable? Big thing. Shoes that are adjustable work really, really well for more or less anybody's feet. But if you've got feet that swell as the day goes on, or feet with issues at the front, maybe you've got a narrow heel, maybe you've got not much of an instep, maybe you've got high instep, all those things have got to be taken into consideration. And if you can get there, like we've got one particular shoe brand called Fly Flot. When we brought it into the country, my husband found it in Italy. He was going around every shoe shop. Our holidays when the children were little consisted of a bit of sun, a bit of a pool, everything, then shoe shops. So they would go around these shops, and he found this particular shoe with the people in the factory because they had Calavasano, I think it's called, the rugby team, a very, very high up rugby team in Italy. And my husband played rugby. So the rapport was instantly there. We met the whole family. They were a family company like we are at Pavers. And it just grew and grew and grew. And the way they make their shoes was incredible. The footbed is called anatomic, which means that the base of the footbed takes on the imprint of your foot as soon as you put your foot inside it. So it becomes personal. It's like a bespoke shoe. So that particular brand has gone through the roof for us. It's been incredible. There's only us in England that have that brand. And, you know, we've taken that brand on from being very utilitarian in the look to becoming something a lot of it very stylized, quite modern, but we've never forgotten the fact that we've got to have that comfort base. So within that base, it's a little bit like I used to describe it. It's a bit like walking on damp sand and you leave your footprint behind. But under your foot itself, you've got this cushioning that actually absorbs your body weight and absorbs the surface you're walking on. So that particular brand is incredible for us, and it's worked so well right the way through and still is. So yeah, to answer your question, comfort is number one. Obviously style and all the rest of it, but comfort, it's got to be comfortable when you put it on.
A couple of questions just leading from what you've just told us. Tell us again, on your, if I looked on your website, what would I look for that?
Fly Flot. You'd put Fly Flot in, FLYFLOT, and it will come up with Fly Flot. It comes up, there's like two birds on the box. It's a blue box with birds on the front, but it's revolutionized footwear really. But Ian brought it back from Italy and said, try it on, Deb. So I put it on. And I thought, I've never actually felt like this before. My feet sank into the base of the shoe. And then if you think about it, we could all be this, you could be a 4, I could be a 4. So our friend would be a size 4, but we've all got different feet.
Yes.
So once the shoes go on, they become bespoke to you. Yes. And that's the whole comfort thing, the breathability of it, the air shock, it's shock resistance in the base. So it's like you're walking on air. And do you know what? You could conquer the world. What do they say about give a woman a pair of shoes? She can conquer the world. That's how it feels without going over the top.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you get a pair of shoes that you can just forget about, then they're your shoes.
Yeah.
And you choose to wear them a lot because you know that they're going to work for you, and it's
absolutely
important. You actually sent me these to try.
Yeah.
What I like about these, and again, I've got a very high instep, and although using a zip to do up your trainers, some people say, well, I wouldn't want to do that, but this is fantastic because it means that you don't have to do the laces all the time, but also because I've got a high instep, I can wear these and not quite do the zip up. Yeah. So it's got some give here for me. Yeah. Which is incredibly important, and trainers are just so brilliant at the moment. So they're actually a high fashion item.
Oh gosh, they are. Yeah.
Which is incredible.
I mean, people years ago, imagine saying to someone, you're going to a really posh do and you're putting some trainers on. You're doing it now. People are wearing it with pretty dresses. It's the whole of key. And we've got this sort of platform business that goes along to give you, I mean, I need a bit of height. I know you're a lot taller than I am, so you're okay. But if you're a small person, I've got a very tall husband, I quite like that height. So I sort of go with a wedge or with a platform wedge that goes straight the way across to lift me, if you like. But I'm not walking like that. I'm walking like that still. So it's important.
When I'm looking at shoes now, I was telling you about this yesterday. I had this really weird thing happen. I wore a pair of ankle boots, which I've had for a long time, with a tiny, tiny heel. I was walking quite a lot and standing quite a lot, and they've always been fine in the past. And I took them off, got into bed, and about 2 o'clock I woke up. I was in so much pain. I mean, it was just excruciating, and it was all along the base of my foot. I mean, I couldn't sleep for about 3 or 4 hours. I was in so much pain, and it went off after a while, and it hasn't come back. But I think it was just a sneak preview of possibly plantar fasciitis, which I know people get. It could have been, I don't know, I have no idea.
It sounds a bit like.
It's really put me off any form of heel whatsoever. I now know that if my foot is flat like that, and as you say, the great thing about what's it called when you a platform sole?
Platform.
A platform, it can give you a bit of height. It can make your legs look a little bit more elegant than a completely flat shoe, but it doesn't push your foot backwards like that, which is a big no-no for me, really. Let me ask you just a question we didn't discuss yesterday. How did you find lockdown for you? What was the impact of lockdown on your business?
Well, to be honest with you, it made the online come alive even more so than it had been. It was always been good for us. It's been steady because we've always had a backup, if you like, when anybody buys anything from us through our catalogue or online or from the TV or website or in store, we've obviously got their details and we can send the catalogues out all the time. What we actually did in the February before we were locked down in the March, which is really, really odd, we did a big film shoot of lots of models wearing our shoes right the way through the whole summer. So we had lots of footage. And then that happened to us in the March and we had to close stores, which was horrific. If you think you're a retail business like we are, we had to sort of look inside ourselves and think, right, we're going to have to push it massively online and in the catalogue and so on. And it worked for us incredibly well because we had all this amazing summer footage that we probably wouldn't have been able to get because of lockdown. So it really took off. So it took off massively and it hasn't gone, which is incredible. Stores are open, people are coming back in store because everybody likes touchy-feely, everybody likes to look at what they're getting and so on. We were all like that shopping experience. But the online hasn't gone. And all the ladies that didn't do online have obviously been taught by their children, grandchildren, whatever, to actually get that tablet out or whatever you're using and tap in what you need. I've been looking at it because they were not going out either. None of us were going out. We're at home. So to see things online and look at pretty shoes and think, well, I think maybe that colour. And so it worked for us amazingly well. That's a great question because a lot of people suffered a lot. It's really sad. Really sad.
I think the fact that you were able to transition very readily and very easily to online. And our experience, we had a couple of shops when COVID hit, but we had to close them and won't reopen them. We're an entirely online brand, but the acceptability of buying makeup and shoes, which are two things that you don't necessarily associate with online purchases. Shoes you need to try on, makeup you need to see, and you need to put it on the back of your hand and stuff like that. But I think the effect of lockdown for you and for us has been that people are prepared to order it, and we have a very, very generous returns policy, and try it at home. And same with shoes. So I wouldn't have bought shoes online before lockdown. And then
I think a lot of people
I did buy shoes online, and I just thought, well, it's fine because I know I can send them back, and why not try them on at home with my clothes and see if they work. So that's really good to hear. And I just wanted to ask you, you're very proud of a foundation that you have, a charitable foundation, which I think you started in the name of your mother-in-law. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Pavers Foundation, it's our charity. That what we do is we have the main charities that, as a committee member, I feel very, very lucky that I'm doing this work. We look at the bigger charities that we have a charity of the year, and this year my charity that I've nominated for the last 4 years won, and it's Children with Cancer. So that was an incredible moment for me to meet the CEO and go through all that with him, and give him that check was just astounding. But it isn't just about that. It's all we may allow all our staff members, all of them, whether they're in the warehouse, whether in store, whether in the offices, whatever, if they know anyone or any company, or maybe the local school, maybe the playground, maybe someone that's ill or someone with issues needs help, we send it all out, and they send in a grant that they want for someone. They say more or less how much they want, what they've achieved to get there as well. And we sometimes say to them, well, you've raised 5,000, you know, we'll make it up to the 10. And sometimes it could be as little as somebody maybe wants £500 or you know, 1,000, or they might want 20,000. We try and give everyone something. And what it does in the business, everybody is a part of something, because all the staff all fundraise. Because if you really want to help someone, you fundraise yourself. And we say to them, you know, if you want to do something in store, if you want to do a cake baking thing, if you want to do anything anywhere, do a little rally or do something to help it along, we'll give you money for that. We've also been planting trees. My brother-in-law has got a big, quite a lot of acreage, and he's put some trees on there for the foundation to help our carbon footprint. You know, we're a very green company and very proud of that too. So I just think when my mum-in-law, as incredible as she was, passed, we wanted to do something, because she'd done so much for everyone within the family, and she'd employed so many lovely people that are still working for us, and she had such a relationship with them. I mean, she could be a stickler, don't get me wrong, she was an amazing woman. But we want to put back, basically, and that's what the Pavers Foundation is doing for us. I mean, last summer, the summer before, it was last summer, I think, we'd given away over £1 million at that point, which makes me feel that is just so incredible that a company like ours can do something and give back to society. It's empowering.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a lovely story, and you know, it's a great testament to everything you stand for. So a tribute to your mum-in-law, and yeah, nice to hear that. It's very good to hear. So Emily, let's come to you. Have you got any questions there?
I'll just quickly run through the competition first.
Oh yes, do that.
So I've put the link to enter the competition into the chat function there, and I'll also make sure it's on the bottom of the YouTube recording. But the competition is to win £100 at LFF and £100 at Pavers. All you have to do is click that link, put in your email address and your name, submit, and you'll be entered. And it closes on the 20th of April. So do make sure that you're entered into that one.
Yes, you have a chance to win that wonderful.
That's a really good prize. It's a really good prize, isn't it? Yeah. And no difficult questions to answer. You just fill it in. Yeah.
Yeah, easy. Literally just your email address and your name, and then you're away. So we do have a few questions in the chat. Carol asks, I currently wear flip-flops and have sandals, slippers, boots, etc. I wear these as I have arthritis in my feet. The support they give is wonderful, but they are not dressy. Would Pavers give me the same comfort, do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Depending on the one you want, you need to look for the most comfortable. A fly flot would probably be the most comfortable, but we do have a lot of other makes as well that you can look at online, and it will give her a guide as to how they fit when she looks for it, whether it be in the catalogue or whether it be online. Needs to look for the guide for her fit. If she's got issues with her feet, she needs something very comfortable, quite obviously. And arthritis, I know I've got it in my wrist and my hand, and I know it's not nice. So yeah, go online and have a look, and she will find them very comfy.
Perfect. Marilyn asks, where are Pavers shoes made?
All over the place, all over. A lot in Europe. They're made all over the world, to be honest with you. It depends on which brand that you're going from. So we look at Italy, we're looking at Spain, we look at Portugal. We've got some being made in the Far East. We've got some being made in India. They're all over, but the most popular amount was European for us. Oh, Turkey, fantastic leathers from Turkey. We've got some really gorgeous leathers around the world that we make our shoes in. We do use synthetic materials as well, but we make sure that the synthetic materials we use are breathable synthetics. So we've got the best of both worlds, really.
Perfect, thank you. And Sarah asked about plantar fasciitis. Do you have any shoes that can be worn by a person with that condition?
Well, yeah, just ultra comfortable shoes. And again, I'll go back to the same make, same fly flot. Is one of the best ones that they can wear for that. It's that they're just self-molding to the foot, and you've got that air cushioning underneath. The base is called anatomic, which means it molds to the shape of your foot. So what happens is the shoe becomes like a bespoke personal fit. Once you put your foot inside them and you stand, your body weight pushes your feet down, and that becomes bespoke to you, like your footprint in sand. And underneath that, it's filled with millions of air bubbles. So these air bubbles do that every time you walk. So when you're walking, your body weight is absorbed, but so is the surface you're walking on. So it's taking away all that awful, awful pain that those poor ladies, men, whoever goes through. We also sell the same company for gents as well. So if there are husbands out there, sons, partners, whatever, that they could get that same comfort too.
Perfect. And just to confirm, because I think the same lady asked about the brand, it's Fly as in FLY.
FLY, FLOT.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. They're made in Italy.
Okay, perfect. And then Debbie, I didn't get the chance to ask, but I'm a bit confused these days with sizes. I wear a 7, and some brands make that as an EU 40, some EU 39, and some EU 41.
A 39 is a size 6, 40 is a size 7, 41, yeah, an 8 really, but depends on whether she is a true 7 or whether she's a bit larger, but generally she should be fitting a 40.
Perfect. And then the last one is just, is your catalogue free and is it sent out via direct mail?
Yeah, if you contact our company, if you haven't got the catalogue, you give them your details, they'll send one straight out to you, then you'll be on the mailing list, and every time the catalogue is produced, you'll get one through the post.
Do you have a link for people to apply to have the catalogue sent out to them? Because I can add that to the, maybe on the YouTube.
Yeah, to go online, on YouTube, on Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel, Facebook. We've got Pavers Shoes.co.uk. If you go onto that site, they can order online without calling or anything, can do it just by pressing a button, put their name and address in.
Perfect. And that's all of the questions. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much indeed, Emily. And my final thing to say, great pleasure to say thank you very much, Debbie. That was brilliant.
It's a pleasure. It's been lovely. Real good fun.
Yeah, and I think you gave a lot of really useful help and information there to all our people that have joined the call, and to you who have joined the call, I say thank you as well. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed that.
Thanks, Tricia. It was lovely. It's great.
Discussion all about feet and shoes, a subject dear to all of our hearts, I think. So goodbye, everybody, and thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
If you love this video and would like to see more content like this, then subscribe to my channel.